excited about being here because when I'm at a river, words bubble up inside of me. And sometimes when I look over the river, I feel like there's things I just want to say directly to it. And this is fairly common for poets. We write a poem called an ode, which is a poem where we write to something that can't talk back. And that's what we're going to try today. If you decide that you are going to write a poem to something that you really like, then you're going to write an ode, a poem of praise. If you decide you're going to write a poem to something you don't like so much, then you're going to write an anti-ode, a poem of complaint. For example, you might say, "Mosquito, you are a blood-sucking nuisance." So if you need a time to think about what you're going to write your ode or anti-ode to, this would be a good time to pause the video, and when you come back, we can begin working on your ode. And here's an example of a couple of odes and an anti-ode for you to listen to and inspire your ode. So I'm going to read this poem, which is an ode, but it's kind of also a farewell to the river that I grew up in. To the Coosa River at Clear Springs Marina and Trailer Park. Come evening, all tilts towards you. Light sifts down until your waters hold more sheen than sky. Herons lift their backward knees along your banks as egrets flock to festoon the pines. Like an outboard winding its way across your slough, then settling into an idle hum beside its pier, I linger, wanting to hear your whisper hushing the trailers and me. I long to stay and feel the boat's wake kiss the fall-away shore. Today I swam to the island, scratched between the horns of the goat who paws his lonesomeness, and again I was young and at home. I walked beneath pines once whitened by so many birds, their weight bent the boughs beyond buoyancy. Tomorrow I drive cross-country, making my way to saddle beside another river. I hear its waters run north and cold, too cold for swimming. Don't hold on to me like a mother. Don't lay out this silken shine. Let me go, but come with me. Set my body atilt with your sway each night. Can't you shift like the egrets who rearrange themselves from one branch to another, each nearness shining as perfect as the last and the next.
Crusty old crayfish, sipping shot glasses of river port poured from the cellar of bottles under a stone. Riffled current curtains over the skylight of your flooded crawl space. Old eyes stare out at wisps of flying fire in the twilight. Gnarled arthritic claws scratch the tally mark of another aeon. No family photographs remain, gone to the slow fade of paper in your musty attic. Water on a tin roof plays a half-forgotten melody with a southern night.
Spider, oh little spider, how can you be so tiny yet ever so scary? Why are you always around when nobody wants to see you? On all my best days, you show up and my heart races. Oh little spider, how can you be so seemingly harmless yet ever so deadly? Why is it I know fear will do no good though I scream? On the ground is where you belong, not crawling up my leg. Oh little spider, I will never be your friend, and that's my anti-ode to a spider.
Okay, so now that you have chosen what you're going to write to, I want you to begin writing a list of all the things that you really like about this thing, if you're writing an ode, or all the things that you really dislike about the thing if you're writing an anti-ode. So in those descriptions, try to use as much sensory language as possible. In other words, what does it look like? What does it sound like? What is its texture? Like in Max's The Crawl Father, he talks about the gnarled claws. Like that's a really good example of getting a sense of texture. You may want to talk about what it smells like, or even tastes like if you're actually going to taste this thing, or maybe what you imagine it would taste like. You can also think about comparing it to things. You might want to compare, say, a river to a back roads winding through trees, or a dandelion as a luminous sun. It's small, but it's super bright. And as you write, try to come up with at least 10 descriptions, so you'll have plenty of things to draw from as you write your poem. Now, if you need some time to write all your descriptions, this is a good time to pause the video. And when we come back, we'll begin writing your Now that you have your list of descriptions ready, now you're ready to write your ode or your anti-ode. Now first, the title. You can simply say to and whatever you're writing about. Say, to the dandelion growing through the crack of the sidewalk. Or to the mosquito that won't stop buzzing my face. Or you can go more formal and say, ode to, or anti-ode to. Your choice. Both tips us off that you're writing directly to something. Now that you begin writing, you want to write as if you're writing to the thing. So you want to say, oh, lizard whose red throat is coming out, you make me feel so happy. I mean, I get real happy when I see the lizards showing their throats because I think it means they like me. As you're writing, as if you're talking to it, if it's something you like, praise it. Tell it all the things you love about it. If you're writing to something you don't like, complain about it. Tell it how horrible it is. And use your descriptions. There's lots of things that you can draw from on that list. And another thing that you may want to think about is that poets have been writing odes for a really long time. And so they have lots of different ways that they write these odes. So you could possibly use one of these methods. One of them is to write a vow of devotion to the thing, or a vow of opposition. Like in the anti-ode to the spider. Oh spider, I will never be your friend. And last but not least, this goes for all poems. If in any way your descriptions match your own feelings inside of you, you want to explore that as much as possible. For example, in the ode that I read to the Cahaba River, I realized that looking at those egrets matched how I wanted the Cahaba River to move with me and to arrange itself around me. Now, if you need to pause the video, imagine you do, to complete your ode, please do, and then come back and we're going to celebrate a good anti-ode or ode writing session. Alright, so now that you have written your ode or your anti-ode, let's hear it aloud. Find the closest person to you and read it to them. I know they're going to be impressed. I wish I could hear it. You could always email it to me, but poems need to be heard aloud, so let's hear it.